Prisco joins us. Pete, these Jaguars are pretty good. They're playing pretty well, aren't they? I mean, and every week it's a different way to impress, including last week against San Francisco.
No question. And after you saw what San Francisco did to the Rams last night on the road with, Mac Jones playing, it gives you even, more credence to the fact that they're playing good football. I mean, they're turning teams over, which is really impressive. And they're doing a lot of good things in a lot of spots. Now, I don't think we've seen the best of that offense yet or even close to it. But they have run the ball. They've pushed people around in the run game, which is a good thing. Now they just need to get that passing game cranked up, and I think ultimately they will, because I think the talent's still there, and I do think the pass protection's been pretty good.
Pete, I think the one thing that stands out, the characteristic, the trait, and we've talked about it every week, so what I'm going to say, is the fact that they're a physical football team. When you're physical, you run the ball well. There's a reason you get takeaways because you're hitting hard. You know well how to hit. You in coverage, you're right on top of the guy. I think it's the most physical Jaguar. It's probably like the 17 team that was a different kind of physical, but I think they've been the most physical team on the field all 4 games, and I think that has led to everything else good happening. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. And the tackling's been good, and, like you said, they're physical, and those are things that you didn't see a lot of. The angles are better, and it just looks like a team that takes the field knowing they can hit people and physically beat them up. And that's a good sign. And on the other side of the ball, same with the offense. The offensive line, one of the most improved units in the entire league. And that group deserves a lot of credit for where they are right now. Because on paper before the season, they were one of the biggest concerns going in. And right now they're not. And so I give them a lot of credit. Now they have a lot of injuries, and we'll see how those guys all play through it this week. But they've been playing very well when they've been on the field together.
Do you think the Jaguars can run the ball against Kansas City?
Who's playing on that line, though? Is everybody going to play?
I think so. They're all limited today, so I would think they're going to have.
Play. I would think they would all play, and if they all play, then I think they can run the ball on them. Again, if you block Chris Jones, and that's not an easy thing to do, I think you run on him, and I think that's going to be the strategy. Get the ball, keep it out of Mahomes' hand, and run the football. And so far, they've done a nice job with it, and they've ripped off some big runs, which is also, a big thing to do because, you don't have to grind and go 3, 4, 5. You get the long run, and it gives you a big pop in the offensive game.
Pete, who are the Chiefs? You know them better than we do. Who are the Chiefs compared to what they've been in this run? Obviously, they were a different team a little bit ever since they lost Tyreek Hill because he was their explosiveness. Pacheco gave him explosiveness in the backfield, but I feel like he slowed down a little bit. Mahomes is still Mahomes. Kelsey's not what he was. What are the Chiefs now in your mind compared to what they've been in these last 4 or 5 years?
Well, I think they're really good on defense. I think that's a given. I think Spagnuolo does a great job of doing so many different things that can confuse a quarterback, and they throw a lot of different looks at you. They come at you in a variety of ways. You got to be on your on your cues, just on it, because if you don't, they're going to hit you, knock the ball loose, and turn it over. And so I think that's the most important thing is to be able to protect and be able to run the ball to kind of limit what they can do on that defense. But they're really good on defense. They do so many different things. The flip side is offensively, they've kind of evolved. But I do think they're in the process of evolving back. And the reason I say that is over the last couple of years, they haven't had the speed. They've been limited, and the teams have played them like that. And it's been, laborious to kind of move the football. And the offensive line hasn't been very good, and Mahomes has been sped up. Well, the offensive line's, I think, better. Simmons hasn't played to what I thought he would play yet, but he will. And the guard's better. The other kid still has problems like he always does at right tackle. He's had him when he was in Jacksonville. He has him now. So you look at the line, it's better, but it's still not where it can be. And now all of a sudden you have weapons because Worthy can flat out run, and when Hollywood Brown can run, and Tyquan Thornton can run. And you got to be able to stretch a defense, and I think it gives them a different dimension now than what they've had over the course of the last couple of years. And when they get Rashee Rice back, they're really going to be really good at receiver. You're right about Pacheco. Not the same runner. Since he got hurt, he's just not been the same runner. Kareem Hunt, I always say Kareem Hunt's one of those guys that'll turn a 2-yard run into a tough physical 4-yard run, but he'll turn a 20-yard run into a tough physical 4-yard run. So I think the kid to keep an eye on is the kid Smith from SMU, the rookie. I think that kid has the potential to be He gives them juice. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's good in the screen game. I think he's a guy to keep an eye on.
I think he's a top worry. I mean, he's somebody that I think they could even be saving to sort of debut Monday night with a big role. So I think that's a great call. When you watch Trevor Lawrence, Pete, what are you seeing?
Some good, some bad, not good enough. I thought it would be much better this year than where it is right now. That's not to say that there have been moments where he's looked good, but I just don't think that he's been in the rhythm yet. And it's not all his fault. The penalties, the pre-snap penalties, awful. The receiver drops, terrible. And I think that's kind of hurt the rhythm of the entire offense. But he's got to be smarter, and the team has to be smarter. You come to the line of scrimmage, it's late getting the play call in on 3rd and 1, and you try and change the play, and you get a delay of game, and then the clock's running down again. You have to call timeout. Those are things that a veteran quarterback shouldn't allow happen. Whether the play's late or whatever, take the timeout. 3rd and 1 is so important in that scenario. So it's a lot of the little things. He's high with his passes, I think, at times. I don't think he's necessarily stepping into the ball. But I think it's coming. And you know how I feel about Trevor. I do think it's coming. But if it doesn't come in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks, you got some worries. And I think, I don't know if anybody in that building is saying that, but I know, looking at it from my standpoint, he's got to be better than where he is right now if you're going to alleviate all those worries that not just me, but a lot of the national teams have.
Let's go around the league a little bit, Pete. Why are the Ravens, who are number one in so many power polls before the season, playing so badly? I know Lamar's hurt now, and they've had a few injuries, but it's more than that. Why are they struggling so badly?
Well, I think the defense has been really bad. And their calling card, and quite frankly, so is the offensive line. Hasn't been great either. Their calling card has been physical. You talk about Jaguars being physical. When you played the Ravens, you knew you were in a war. They were going to beat you up. Well, they're not beating anybody up. They're getting beat up. And that, to me, is the biggest difference in the Ravens. Now, Matabiki's out for the year. That's a big hit. Roquan Smith hasn't played very well. I don't think the secondary's been very good at all. Marlon Humphrey was, an all-pro last year, and he's been bad. And I think they don't really have a guy you come to the line of scrimmage and identify, there's a guy you got to identify because he's going to knock the quarterback down. They don't have that. And I think you add that all up, and they have major problems. And now Lamar's hurt, and that's even a bigger issue. So, did Cooper Rush win 2 or 3 games? I doubt it. And they're playing the Texans. The Texans aren't very good, but when you go into that game with all those guys hurt, Humphrey's out, Roquan Smith's out, Hamilton's dinged up and might not play. I mean, you're talking about a defense that's just shredded, and you don't have Lamar Jackson. So I think that's a good spot for the Texans.
You referenced this earlier, Pete, but what a win for the 49ers last night. What did you make of Mac Jones's gutsy performance?
Where was he last year, that guy, by the way? I mean,
right.
The depth of target, you know what it was? The average depth of target in that game?
6.7 yards? I don't know.
No, his average depth of target was 4 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he did. He did a good job of getting the ball out of his hands and dinking and dunking down the field, and that's okay. But, there's a battle cry out there. Oh, maybe they don't need Purdy and Mac Jones. Give me a break. You guys watched Mac Jones play last year, and I know he's a Jacksonville kid, but you watched him play all last year. Did he give you any indication whatsoever that he should be a starting quarterback in the National Football League?
He didn't me
at all.
He didn't me at all. And the sample size was pretty big because Trevor got hurt.
But it was incredible. I thought what he did last night.
It was very good last night.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good last night. He's played really well so far. And some people sit there and say if he had played against Jacksonville, they would have won the game. I don't buy that. Because Purdy didn't play that well in that game, but I don't believe that. I just think that sometimes you are what you are, and it takes a couple games to figure it out. It all evens out. Usually that stuff. A backup court. Look at Jake Browning, and I said this on this show. And I said it on many of our shows. When Jake Browning came in, they go, "Oh, he went 4-3 when he played, and look what he did against Jacksonville. He rallied them to victory." And I said, "Okay, he's going to be Jake Browning. At some point, he's turning into Jake Browning because that's who he is, and you might get a game or two out of him, but you're not going to get a big body of work that has success on it." Well, what did he do? The first 2 games, he turned into Jake Browning because that's who you are. You are what you are in this league.
Pete, how good are the Colts? Are the Colts good? Because even last week they hung around for a while against the Rams. Are they good?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're great, but they're good. What they've done is they've kind of revamped their offensive line, which really is important in that system. And you look at it, the center left, the right guard left. They went to Minnesota as free agents. And so what do? You put in Bortolini and Conclaves, who's a guard tackle, converted tackle to guard from Pittsburgh. And those guys have played really well. And then you couple with the other guys you already had on that line, all of a sudden it's a good offensive line. You can run it with Taylor. And you just tell Daniel Jones, don't mess it up. And the rookie tight end from Penn State's really good. I don't know how good they are defensively. They have problems at cornerback. I think you can attack them down the field a little bit. But offensively, he's done a nice job calling plays. And when you can run it with Jonathan Taylor, it takes all the pressure off the quarterback.
The Jaguars will face Seattle after the Chiefs. Seattle's off to a nice start. What are your early thoughts about what the Seahawks are doing?
They're one of the few teams in the league that's actually getting big plays in the passing game. And, that guy's averaging 9.1 per attempt. I mean, Sam Darnold. And again, we all have our doubts about him. That's just the way it is. He was Sam Darnold for whatever years before he went to Minnesota. And then he played well at Minnesota. But at the end of last year, he didn't play well when it was time to really play well. So there was always going to be doubts, but he's played good football. Smith and Jigma is a heck of a receiver. He's probably right up there as one of the new young number one wide receivers. And then defensively, they get after it. I mean, they're really good on defense. And, McDonald calls a good game, and they're attacking on defensive side of the ball. They got a lot of good rising stars, young players on that defense. So I like what they've done. I really do. I think they're going to be a tough game next week.
Pete Prisco from CBS Sports. Chiefs or Jaguars, who wins?
I picked the Jaguars. I think that place is going to be jumping on Monday night. It hasn't been that way in a long time. I think it's going to be wild, and I think it's going to be good for the city. And I think the Jaguars are going to play well. I think Trevor Lawrence in the passing game are going to play well. I really do. I think this is the game where they, kind of turn it up a little bit and show people that they can throw the football around.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here. Thanks so much for checking out 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. Now, before you click away, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any interest in some of the other team-specific channels, head over right now and subscribe on our 1010XL YouTube.